Hollywood's golden age was built on secrets, glamour on the outside, silence within. Sal Mineo, once a teen idol and icon of American masculinity, held truths that could have shattered careers and rewrote the image of some of the most untouchable stars before his tragic death. Sal risked everything to speak the truth, naming powerful men he loved in silence. These weren't just affairs, they were hidden identities in a ruthless industry. What he revealed wasn't just scandal, it was dangerous. And now, decades later, the truth refuses to stay buried, ready to hear what Hollywood tried to erase. Sal Mineo wasn't just another actor, he was electric sharp, young, undeniably talented. At just 23, he became the first Italian-American actor to earn 2 Academy Award nominations, with unforgettable roles in Rebel Without a Cause, Giant, and Exodus. He should have soared, but Hollywood doesn't reward the brave, it punishes the honest. And Sal lived honestly in a time when being gay wasn't just taboo. It was a death sentence for your career. And Sal, he didn't hide, even when it meant losing the spotlight, the fame, the safety. He loved without shame, and he loved deeply. The first, the most tragic, James Dean. They met during the filming of Rebel Without a Cause. James Dean, the rebel. Sal, the sensitive outsider. On screen, they were magic, but behind closed doors, they were something more, passionate, private, and completely unprepared for what their truth could cost them. Nights at the Beverly Hills Hotel, whispered secrets in the dark, and one chilling warning from James Dean: if I die, burn the private reels. No one can ever see them. He knew the rules. Hollywood could end you with one rumor, and then he was gone. A car crash. That's what the headline said, but whispers told a darker story. A death threat left in his dressing room, written in pig's blood: choose your career or your little boyfriend. 3 weeks later, Dean was dead. A mechanic later confessed he believed the brakes had been tampered with. He was paid to stay quiet. Sal was shattered. He knew about the car being moved to a secret garage. He knew the danger. And now, he was alone. He spiraled, stuffed cloth under his doors to block hidden cameras, called NBC at midnight, crying, "I have James Dean's sex tape. I can't keep it anymore." 2 weeks later, NBC burned. The phone logs, gone. The tape, vanished. Desperate to regain control, Sal turned to safety in the form of a woman, Jill Howarth, blonde, beautiful, daughter of the powerful producer Lewis Howarth. They played the part of the perfect couple, but it was all a cover, because Bobby Sherman had entered Sal's life, younger, innocent looking, but curious. At an NBC session, he asked, "If I feel nothing kissing a girl, is that wrong?" Sal smiled, "You just haven't kissed the right person." From there, the two began meeting secretly in Laurel Canyon, hidden penthouses, late nights. On the outside, Sal was with Jill, Bobby with his girlfriend, but behind closed doors, their connection was undeniable. Then came the leak, a ring on Sal's finger that once belonged to Bobby. A hotel clerk found initials, SMNBS, on a billing slip, and a photographer got the shot, Sal kissing Bobby's neck near a garage. But it wasn't the photo that detonated the bomb. It was Jill. She found a cassette tape, intimate audio of Sal and Bobby. No words, just breathless sounds. She mailed it to the Los Angeles Times with a 4-page letter. "I'm Sal Mineo's fiancé, and I heard him love a man." The fallout was instant. Sal lost of films, a Broadway show, and a national talk show within 72 hours. Bobby was forced to sign a denial. One copy of the tape was burned in the Universal Records sink. The original, hidden by Sal. Bobby Sherman resurfaced with a new girlfriend, joking to the press, "I love music, not men." Hollywood laughed, forgave him, moved on, but Sal was left with whispers, scars, and a name scratched over and over on bar napkins. But the most dangerous name on Sal's list, Paul Newman. The affair began quietly during the filming of Exodus. Newman, the American ideal, married, respected, untouchable, and yet he visited Sal's modest Benedict Canyon apartment regularly. Insiders saw them leave in a silver Pontiac. Rumors exploded when the National Enquirer reported Paul Newman secretly meets with a male actor who once co-starred with James Dean. No names, no photos, but soon, Sal confirmed to Hollywood Reporter, "Paul was the one I loved most." The story was never printed. Warner Brothers killed it with a cease and desist within hours. Sal's phone went dead. His newsroom contacts were fired. He tried calling Newman. No answer. He mailed a letter. No reply, just a folded slip. "Do not mention me or us." The most haunting artifact, a tape. A recording of Sal asking Paul to make their relationship public. Newman said, I love you. But not enough to lose everything. Sal hid that tape in a Super 8 film can behind a painting in his Santa Monica apartment. After his death, it vanished. Newman never mentioned Sal again. Not once, but those who knew them never forgot. Because Paul was the only one who made Sal believe in forever. And the one who walked away like it never happened. Then came Marlon Brando. The most volatile love in Sal Mineo's complicated and hidden story. They met through industry parties, secret circles, and intimate gatherings at Chateau Marmont, often hosted by powerful figures like Elia Kazan. One evening, Brando answered a hotel room phone meant for Sal. What followed was a night together that neither of them ever publicly acknowledged. They didn't leave the room until morning. Their chemistry, explosive, but fleeting. It burned to fast, to bright and left ashes in its wake. Days later, Brando returned a sweater Sal had left behind. With it came a handwritten note that would haunt him. I don't nurture feelings, not for anyone. For Sal, it was devastation. He had fallen hard, but once again, he had been discarded by someone too afraid to be seen with him in the light. A blind item in a gossip column soon appeared. One young actor fell in love, the other didn't. No names were mentioned, but no denial ever followed either. In Hollywood, that silence said more than 1,000 confirmations, but Brando wasn't. The last name, more followed, each shadowed in secrecy and manipulation. Tony Perkins, Brandon D. Wilde. Both were allegedly introduced to Sal through a bizarre form of matchmaking, arranged by none other than Paul Newman, a man who had loved Sal and then severed every tie to protect his image. A pulled article from Movieland Confidential hinted at the three men meeting in a penthouse suite at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. The issue was mysteriously yanked from newsstands just hours after it hit the public. But insiders talked. Whispers circled the casting offices. One casting memo even included a chilling handwritten note: avoid pairing D. Wilde with Sal. Raises too many questions. When Tony Perkins was asked about Sal at a Palm Springs gala, he stood up and walked out without answering. Brandon D. Wilde, through his manager, simply replied, not involved, no comment. And then, finally, there was one man who never denied him, never erased him, never ran from the truth. Courtney Burr, not a celebrity, not a headline, just an acting coach with no agenda. He didn't need fame, he needed Sal. They lived together for 6 quiet years, no paparazzi, no parties, just a love that endured behind drawn curtains. When the tabloids attacked, Courtney locked the doors, turned off the lights, and played calming music until Sal fell asleep. He administered Sal's medications, sat with him through breakdowns, and never once asked him to hide who he was. On February 12, 1976, Sal Mineo was stabbed just outside their home. The keys were still in the lock. The blood spread across the pavement in terrifying silence. Courtney opened the door and saw him. He didn't scream. He didn't run. He simply knelt beside the man he loved, held him, and waited. For 7 minutes, he stayed there. Then he called 911. He spoke softly to the dispatcher. The man I love has been murdered. But the media didn't want that quote. They didn't want love. They wanted drama, conspiracy, scandal. Within 24 hours, headlines were splashed across front pages. Who was the last man to see Sal Mineo alive? They twisted Courtney Burr from grieving partner to possible suspect. Reporters invaded their home, photographed everything right down to the half-filled wine glasses on the table. They didn't write about the medications Courtney had carefully administered each night, or the whispered reassurances in the dark when Sal was overwhelmed, or the quiet, enduring strength of a man who never once left his side. After the funeral, Courtney walked alone to the cemetery. No celebrity friends, no industry support, just a bouquet of white flowers placed gently on a grave that even in death, Hollywood refused to dignify. Sal Mineo may have died from a stranger's knife, but the truth is, he died long before that, cut down by an industry that demanded silence from the ones who loved differently. And by the time Courtney found him, Hollywood had already erased him. Not every killer uses a weapon. Some kill with silence, some with shame, and some with the unbearable weight of being unloved in public by the very people who claimed to love you in private. But Courtney, he stayed. And in a world that abandoned Sal Mineo, that might have been the bravest act of love of all. And in doing so, the truth about the men Sal loved and those who loved him in silence was buried with him. He didn't die from secrets. He died because the world wasn't ready for his truth. But maybe now we are. If his story moved you, like, share, and subscribe, because some voices deserve to be heard no matter how long it takes. Thanks for watching.